Madame Tussauds was my great-great-great-grandmother and was born in Strasbourg, but quite soon afterwards moved to Paris, where she learnt her art of making wax models.
Her entrepreneurial flair was the product that she crafted and that she created, and it really was the best there was at the time.
Very popular were the royal family of France at that time, Louis XVI and the young Marie Antoinette.
Madame Tussauds was interested in fame, she was interested in glamour, in sensationalism. She liked to keep on top of all of these things. For example, in her day, she had an area where you could actually see the royal family sitting down to dinner. I mean, where else would that happen?
When the French Revolution came, she was obliged, under sentence of death herself, to make models of the victims of the guillotine. And those models were then put on pikes and taken to the Place de la Concorde, and there the populace could see that the evil oppressor had been brought to his end.
The values that we have here today at Madame Tussauds is the same values that Madame Tussauds created all those years ago, and that's the actual value of listening to what our guests are asking for in terms of the creation of figures. She realised she had a product that people were generally interested in. Human nature, I mean, humans love to look at humans.
In 1802, Madame Tussauds decided to make a new life and to go to England. She set up a travelling waxwork museum, and she was on the road for 36 years of intensive hard work. At one time, on the way to giving her exhibition in Ireland, she was shipwrecked off the west coast of England and had to swim ashore, losing quite a lot of her objects and figures.
She was mostly travelling, so the point is she would have had to set up something every time, or she would have had to find a room in wherever it was she was exhibiting, and would have been working in considerably more primitive conditions, I guess. I mean, the lighting wouldn't have been as good.
There weren't any cameras in those days. There wasn't any photographic evidence on what actually people looked like.
Madame Tussauds would have used contemporary busts or paintings for her reference.
I think that her travelling exhibition was certainly very exhausting and profitable, and eventually it was decided with her children, Madame Tussauds and Sons Limited, that she would settle in the Portman Rooms until the famous site in Baker Street was purchased and a purpose-built exhibition was erected on that site, which is there to this day.
Madame Tussauds was actually quite an innovator. Her models weren't just static. Fairly recently we did a model of Britney Spears here, which had a breathing chest, and there was a lot of press coverage and so on about it. But hundreds of years ago, Madame Tussauds had a figure that breathed, the same as ours does.
Madame Tussauds was very, very good at advertising. She would circulate personally thousands of posters and billboards around the areas where her attraction was at that time. She'd use omnibuses and public transport, and they'd use the sort of language that big retail companies use today.
Madame Tussauds was an amazing businesswoman. She was a mother, an entrepreneur. She had incredible bravery, vision. You know, if there ever was a story for a Hollywood movie, it'd be that of Madame Tussauds.